what made me ignorance and being an idiot. And I remember thinking I need to start communicating about what I do, making a website and putting stuff out there, maybe LinkedIn. But I was scared my boss at the time would maybe see that around and start asking questions. I was just talking with my friends back then and explaining that, and they just told me, why don't you just quit? So I said, no, you're right. Well, actually, I'll quit Monday. As an employee, when you work in a place, you kind of need to have that respect for the person who managed you, so you can learn from them and really learn to trust them. My job is to make stuff pretty or desirable so people can buy it. It really made me question whether or not I should even continue doing design, because it's so detrimental to the world. It's so ingrained into consumption, and a lot of things are not going into the right direction today because of us designers. We design stuff that are too good, that too many people want to buy.
You asked me what the guest number you are, right? You are officially 27th guest.
Wow. Great.
And remember, I think I messaged you did I message you after I launched or before I launched?
Slightly after. You had only a couple, I think.
Yeah. So I think it was in summer then that we were talking, and afterwards arranged. Yeah, so I had the 27th guest and the last guest of 2023, actually.
Oh, great.
So yeah, you have that badge. So I'm kind of toning down over Christmas. I don't have anything else scheduled to record, and I don't have anything else to publish, as in I'm pausing publishing episodes until beginning of next year. So this is my last piece of work before I just tuck down for Christmas.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for joining me. You're coming all the way from France. Let's just say that you came specifically for Misfit Founders.
I did, though.
Not to visit your friends in London.
No, I did.
You did? Okay, cool. Approved. I start usually with an introduction of who you are and what do you do. What's your professional thing?
So I'm a designer, and as a designer, I own a studio called Positive Impact Studio. What we do is we help entrepreneurs get alignment on the things that they're building. So usually they do products, apps, and we help them with branding and with product design, strategy, and I do a lot of different things on that aspect, but mainly I'm the strategist of the house. Okay. And I do a bit of design, and I come from a design background, so I'm a designer.
When did you start your career in design?
Must be 8 years ago now. I started in 2006. No, longer, 2016, I don't know.
Was because we worked together.
Yes.
Disclosure, right? Was Modano wasn't your first job, was it?
It was my first actual job.
Oh, it was your first actual job?
Yes, yeah.
That is very surprising, because you and I worked together on a couple of projects, and it just struck me like someone that had a lot of experience and worked with a lot of companies. I'm very good at pretending, no. Well, fake it until you make it, right?
No, yeah.
Was it on your CV, I've worked at these big companies?
No.
I've snuck some companies, random companies?
So I recently discovered that everyone I know around me always lied on all their CVs. I must be the only person I know that never lied on my CV. So I never put like any big company names on my CV, but I had worked previously at a studio, game studio, but it was pretty much like a student project with actual money involved, because only the main guy and myself were working on it anyway. And Modano hired me because of my personality, I think. It was like, this girl sounds interesting. I don't know what we're going to do with her, but let's try it out. And yeah, it was kind of that.
I was about to ask, because, what was the basis? Like, what do you think that contributed to you getting your first job? And is it personality?
Well, the questions I asked and the conversation I had with the people who interviewed me, made it so that they thought I had something interesting to bring, even though I had nothing on paper.
It's quite interesting. Really big revelation here, because I was always under the impression that you've worked with a lot of agencies and companies and so on. I mean, I think it's also the way you approach briefing and preparing your design briefs, and your thinking and vocalizing your thinking about various design concepts and brand identity and so on. That was like, oh yeah, she's really good at it. She's really good at it. And right, so that was the job in London was your first proper gig.
Yeah.
What happened afterwards?
Afterwards, I moved to Canada. And what happened while I was working in London is that I at the time I was hired as a graphic designer, so I was doing a lot of different stuff. Some of the stuff I was doing was not so interesting, like PowerPoint design, for example. Some other stuff were really interesting, like brand designing, or getting to craft a brand, telling a brand story, and designing assets or logos or things that needed to express a certain vision or personality from a brand. And I found that I really, really liked that, and I wanted to do more of that. So I thought, I'm going to be able to practice doing that more if I work for an agency and not for a startup. So I moved to Canada, Montreal, and I started looking for work in an agency, a design agency. So I could be doing brands and strategic stuff and logos all day long. I did find that, but the agency that I was working at the time is, I don't know, it was not like the dream job. I didn't enjoy it too much, and I was always like in conflict with the artistic director there, because I don't know, I kept thinking that my ideas were better than his.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
So how did that conflict manifest? What was it? Just harsh, the conversation around my thing is better, your thing sucks?
No, because I'm
or
not.
how did it?
I'm not.
You're not confrontational.
No, I'm not. I mean, I speak my mind, but I'm not going to tell to someone's face my ideas are better than yours. But the problem is that when you, as an employee, when you work in a place, you kind of need to have that respect for the person who managed you, so you can learn from them and really learn to trust them and get to do good work together.
Yeah.
The problem is I didn't have that for him. It's probably my fault because I was too young and untamed. I don't know, but yeah, the effect that it had on me is that I kept thinking that I needed to grow from myself and need to look for other sources of learning. So I continued to learn a lot of different stuff on the different coaching stuff or internet books, and then I decided that the time has come that I don't need to work at that place anymore because I know better than them.
I know better
So
than these fools. Okay, I'm going.
Yeah.
Bye, suckers.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was being very cocky, but yeah, it was pretty much.
Do you still find yourself cocky? Do you still consider yourself quite?
Yeah, I'm.
It's good when you.
I think I have that thing where with people who are not too confident that I sort of have. I need to
power them.
Yeah, I need to find some sort of confidence from somewhere, and then it just, I don't know, it just takes over fear or other stuff.
Where do you think that comes from?
Like I said, because I don't have I don't really have a lot of confidence from like my personality.
Right.
So I just have to, I don't know, like push myself, and then it just, I don't know.
It's just a kind of like reaction mechanism.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, I see. And how you said you've learned, you've evolved while you were there. Is this in terms of your design skills? Is it in terms of dealing with people? What was it that
Um,
you've taken away the most on your period at that agency in Canada?
I I got to learn how to deal with people, maybe politics stuff. I also met it wasn't my boss, but I met one person who was really, really, really amazing at their job. Her name was Azin. Her name is Azin, and she's my ex-colleague from there, and now she works at Microsoft, I think. And she taught me everything she knew about product design and UI UX. And at that time, I was already really interested in that, but I didn't know anything, so she taught me a lot of stuff, and it's from her actually that I learned the most. And even humanly, she was a really nice person, so she taught me a lot of things.
So
That's the best memory I have from that place.
you consider her a mentor?
Yeah, definitely in a way. Yeah.
And do you still engage with each other? Do you still feel like you have things to learn from her? And the reason why I'm asking is because I've had this conversation quite a bit often with people where most of the time I realize that mentors are temporary.
Yeah.
Right? So as in
100%.
you evolve, you get to another stage, and then you don't necessarily need each other that much anymore. You find other mentors in that stage that you're on and the interest that you have there. Is that how things have progressed, or do you still keep in touch and you feel like you're learning a lot from her at this stage?
No, it's exactly how you said it. It was very temporary. She taught me a lot of things, not only about UI UX, but also she helped me understand certain dynamics, like I said, with people, politics, and things, which is the part that I'm really bad at because of my temper, I guess. Like I'm too frank and too honest, and sometimes I'm not always good at reading rooms. But she taught me a lot of that also. But then I left that place, and she went on to work at, I think, Microsoft, or the job that she wanted to do. And now I have other mentors, and we still speak. But she also started to do other stuff, more like related to spirituality or other things that she's interested in. So it's great for me to see that she's so successful and so great at what she does, but she's not like monomaniac with only one interest and I only want to do one thing, which is a great inspiration for me because I have so many interests also, and I want to see more people living their life and following their passion beyond just like I have this job and this is what I do and I'm only doing this one thing.
That's a quality in people, and I know that you have this quality because we've talked a couple of times, and when I was telling you about my progression with Jigsaw, you always seemed very interested and very happy and excited for where we're heading with Jigsaw. And I find that as a rare quality. Like not everyone's in their little world and don't look outside their world boxes in a sense. And there's very little people that, very few people that actually take the time to kind of like treat someone else's journey in a bit as their own, right? Like that excitement and that feeling. And I've always appreciated that. That's what, like, the one thing that I've learned. I've always been super interested in people and founders, in founders' journeys and so on. But what I've discovered while doing, now 27 episodes of Misfit Founders is that I just, for this hour and a half that I'm sitting down with someone like yourself, I'm just living their life, right? So my questions and everything, that I'm like just zoned in and just living your life for an hour or so, your story.
Did you interview Loic yesterday or?
No, it wasn't yesterday. It was quite a while ago. I think it was a month ago.
Okay. I just saw the LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
This morning. So
I did.
I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Where? How do you know him?
You introduced us.
Oh, I did. Oh, yes, I did. My memory is I'm getting older, man. My memory is getting worse.
No, you're just getting to introduce a lot of people. So
how old are you, by the way?
How old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 30.
30. Okay. Welcome to the club.
Thank you. About to turn 31, which is not as nice as I thought.
You're the same age as Nikki. I think she's turning 32, actually. Yeah, she's turning 32.
Can't,
We're not youngsters anymore, is it?
I guess not.
Speaking of youngsters, what in your early age, when you were young, what got you into this creative side? Like, basically, how did you got into design?
I think wanting to like escape the real world, something like that. Because I don't know. I always remember to be drawing. Like I was always drawing like all the time when I was little. And I never really thought of it to be a career because my family is not like we don't come from a creative background. Everyone has really like normal jobs, and the expectations for me is to also be doing a normal job, I guess, because I grew up in a small town, and like I never had like an example around me of someone who was doing creativity or even entrepreneurship or whatever. So I was just drawing a lot. And
what did your parents want you to do when you grew up? Did they had a plan for you?
No, not really. They just wanted me to do well in school and to have a good diploma, so that I could have a good job with good money. That's like as far as it goes.
That's the standard.
Really working class
right?
kind of mentality, really.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of shifted quite a lot recently. Like, our generation of parents are a bit different. It's probably because the world has changed quite a lot since your parents were younger and working and had certain expectations of how life would be for you.
Yeah.
Things have changed massively.
Yeah, for sure. But they also come from a background of like, okay, the most important thing is like security and financial security. So we want you to have that first. You're to be independent, to be financially secure. And then if you can have a little bit of fun, that's your business, but the security is what we want for you first, kind of thing.
So where, you said the small town, where in France are you from?
So it's a town called Châteaudun. It's in Châteaudun.
Châteaudun?
Yes.
It sounds like palace something. Or
yes,
castle
because
something.
it has the word chateau in it, which means castle.
Yeah.
That's because that's a medieval town. It has a medieval castle in it.
Oh wow, it must be very touristic.
It's nice. Like the center of the town is pretty cute. But it's in a region that's called La Beauce, and it only has fields, and it's like I never really liked it too much because I consider it to be like an open field factory. It's just really industrial, like really huge fields and like monocultural, just like one type of culture in hectares.
And where is that? I mean, now I'm revealing how bad my geography is, because in school,
No, I mean, even in France, people don't really know where to place this.
But I'm saying that because in school, I was, and this is another shameful thing, I was in advanced French.
Okay.
In terms of foreign languages, we had an advanced and intermediate levels in primary school, and they put me in advanced French, so the curriculum was more intense, and then mid-level intermediate German. I know nothing in French, maybe a couple of words. I can understand a bit of French, and they also teach you quite a bit of geography areas in France and so on, and my mind just so
don't worry about it.
For honestly, others silly like me, tell me where that area is. It in the south of France? Is it?
It's in the middle. That's how boring it is. It's really like dead center, and it's got nothing in it but fields.
So it's the middle of should I take from what you said that the middle of France is very boring?
It is very boring. We actually have something in France called la diagonale du vide. It means the empty diagonal of, and that's what it is. It's like the country is crossed by a line of emptiness where there's nothing. And Châteaudun is right in the middle of that line of nothing.
Is it like in Australia, the outback, where all of the cities are on the outskirts, and then the
Yep.
middle
Yeah, yeah.
is
You could say
empty.
that, yeah. Like everything interesting is like either on the west or like northwest or southeast. There's also interesting stuff on the southwest, but yeah, mostly it's like there's a lot of interesting stuff in France, beautiful landscapes, but in the middle, there's nothing.
And what's your favorite area of the country?
The southwest, where I live now. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I love the south side of France. Although I've been to France once, and it was in the south, and I'm actually happy that I went to the south of France as my first visit. So you grew up there. Was there anything to do in your town?
Yeah, drawing.
Drawing. So you were drawing a lot.
I was drawing all the time, like literally every single day, all the time.
I know this is a very, very difficult question to answer. But if circumstances would have been different, let's say if you were born in Bordeaux or in Paris, let's say, do you reckon your fate, your path would have been different?
Oh yeah, 100%.
What would that look like if you go through that exercise to think of maybe I would
I don't know, give me a
be
scenario.
maybe I would be a I don't know a chemist or a engineer or something like that.
I honestly I don't know, but I think I would probably still be a creative. And
That's what draws you. That's what excites you the most.
yeah,
like the artistic
I
side
would
of
still be a
things.
creative. Maybe I wouldn't be doing like visual design stuff. Maybe I would be doing music. But I would still be a creative, and I would definitely still be an entrepreneur.
Okay, I'm asking because I see you as a quite a thinker and an analyst as well. Like like not all creatives have this trait of just being able to take themselves out of their creative craft and look at a project in a more ample way and abstract way, right? And contextualize things. And I think that's one of the things that I've seen while working with you. Although it's been a while ago, and I don't remember all the projects, but I do remember bits here and there. And also, you started your own company, and you were working with brands. And you did mention that the thing that you've, at least while you were developing your skills at that agency, that one of the things that you really liked was to come up with concepts for brands, figure out their ethos, figure out what they stand for, and materialize that into visual. Which again, I do find that it's a very important creative aspect, but you also have to have certain type of traits in order to be able to convey the business's brand and culture and values in the right way, and link it to design. So post that job where you decided that you're better than everyone, sounds so hot.
No, yeah,
I'm joking. Kind of. What happened afterwards?
I quit, and I went
Just like that. Did you had anything as a backup, or did you decided
nothing at all.
I'm out?
I had like, I don't know, 5 grand saved. So
That's not much though.
no, not at all.
It'll last you half a month in Canada. That's how expensive Canada is.
Montreal is slightly cheaper
Is
than like places like Vancouver or Toronto, but still, yeah, it was like nothing. The person who I was living with at the time was like unemployed, so it was really like,
Oh wow.
ooh, YOLO.
But talk me through that. So, because a lot of people are terrified of that. I'm terrified of that. Like I've never left the certainty and comfort of my job to take a plunge in something without having some solid ground. Like when we left the previous company to where we were working in London to start Jigsaw properly to work for, we already had seed investment. We were basically we started running on stable ground. What made you decide to, well, screw it, I'm out of here, and I'll figure out later what to do, versus let me stick around for a while until I figure out what to do?
What made me ignorance and being an idiot. But I don't regret it. It was 100% the right thing to do. I had a couple clients, honestly, on like really small projects that was gonna last me like maybe 1 or 2 months. And I was doing these projects on the side of my full-time job. And I remember thinking that for me, this was like the beginning of something great. Like I had only like 2 clients or like really nothing going on, but it was the start of how great my company was going to be. And I remember thinking, okay, I need to start communicating about what I do, and like, I don't know, making a website and putting stuff out there, maybe LinkedIn. I remember I knew I had to start doing that, but I was scared that my boss at the time would maybe see that around and start asking questions of what was I doing on the side, or I felt like I couldn't do that fully because I was held back by my job. So I was just talking with my friends back then and explaining that, and they just told me, why don't you just quit? So I said, no, you're right. Well, actually, I'll quit Monday. And then I just
All of a sudden, wow, that is brave. Either brave of you or silly of you. It really depends
both,
on
I don't know.
who you ask. Because, being lucky afterwards and getting work, retrospectively, you might say, or some might say, well, hey, that was a brave move, right? If you would have completely flopped out of the gate and went back into employment, people would judge you as silly, right? So it's always that kind of like society just looks at you depending on how you wind up, right?
Exactly.
But when you look at it, there are risky moves, and you need courage, and you need a bit of confidence in yourself, and a ton of luck at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And when you decided that it's time to go and start your own thing, did you had a really good thinking of, and by the way, before I ask you that, let me make a bit of a parenthesis here and say that I know what you're talking about, because I'm the same, and I find it very inconvenient if I have a job and I have this exciting thing that I want to pursue, and I just don't feel like I'm focusing, or I'm putting my energy in this other thing. And even if I am putting my energy in this other thing, there's always this in the back of your mind, and not just in the back of your mind, but like that feeling of, I have this thing that's holding me back. I completely understand what you're saying, and it is, you have to take the decisions based on sometimes gut feel, and that's what it is.
For me, I think it was just because I felt like I really needed to commit to the thing I was building, and well, still having a job was like not letting me be full on it, like really committed. So I guess also taking the risk was the thing for me that meant, okay, I'm committed because I'm taking the risk. I'm doing something maybe super dumb, but I want to give myself the chance to explore and take the risk and see where it leads me. And if it doesn't lead anywhere, then at least I will have given myself that chance, because otherwise no one else was gonna give it to me.
Were you concerned at all that, if this fails, I'm screwed? Or did you always think, well, if this fails, I can find a job like this?
No, I wasn't concerned about failing, and I wasn't really telling myself I'll succeed or nothing either. I was just doing it and not really thinking about anything else than the actual thing I needed to do. I had a plan. Like, I had a plan on how.
What was the plan?
the plan was to make my own brand. I was also very, very excited about crafting a brand, a storytelling for the
For
thing.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for myself.
After doing it for so
Exactly,
many
yeah.
other companies and people.
So I was super excited about doing that. And also because I really, really believed into what I was doing and the power of design and branding and all that. I thought if I create a brand that is amazing enough that it conveys the message that I want to take to the world, and if it conveys my energy and my passion, etc., then clients will come because, of course, my brand is amazing, so they will want, or people will be fighting to work with me.
And what
This is
did
what I
you
thought.
find what did you learn along the way?
It takes a bit more than that to make it into the creative industry, especially with just so many of us out there, agencies, freelancers, studios. So it does take a lot more than that. It takes a lot of work on the marketing side of things and content creation. And yeah, this is when I started hitting a wall a little bit.
Was that when we were having our conversation, like our mini
Yes.
advisory
Yeah.
things? Did I scare you when I started talking about founder branding and influencer and founder led type of marketing initiatives?
No, you didn't scare me because it's not something that was completely new, like out of the blue
Right.
for me. I kind of had that in the back of my mind that I needed to do something like that, but the sheer effort that it represented of like doing that thing
It is.
was so, like, it seemed to me like a mountain that I needed to climb, and that was it was scary, but also I felt discouraged by how big the task was.
It is. And that has been my go-to because that's what helped me in this digital world. But there's also other things like networking, like being super prolific at networking, in-person events, being everywhere
Yeah.
is a very powerful tool as well to gain leads and customers, right? You don't have to go the extreme of creating a, content blasting strategy in order to get there. Yeah, it potentially gives you a bit more of a selective choice, because that's what we were talking about back then, like being able for you to position yourself as a thought leader and have the choice of who you work with.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that was your ethos with the company as well. Is it still?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Tell me a bit about how you got to that realization that you want to work with companies, sustainable companies that create sustainable products or are in these industries for positive impact.
Yeah, it started a while ago when I was still living in London. I was having a lot of thoughts about the world and how things are going, generally speaking. I like
verbalize them now.
So
you can use fingers as well. You need to.
I don't know. I guess I just I don't know. I don't remember how it started, but I started to look into the huge problem that we're facing regarding the climate and climate change, and how complex that whole problem is, and what are things that people can do to kind of make their lives a bit more sustainable and less damaging for the planet, the ecosystem, etc. It's such a huge issue anyway. So I started looking into this like a really long time ago, and at the start, my entry point into this whole topic was food and what people eat. When I finished my studies, I studied fine art, so I don't even have a degree in design. When I finished my studies, I wrote a book of interviews where I went to ask people questions about what they eat and why do they eat what they eat. And the whole point of that book was to kind of ask people questions so that I could myself answer the question, what do I eat and why do I eat what I eat? And the answer was basically that I was not at ease with the whole tradition of like, we eat this because it's the tradition and we've always done things this way. And for me, it was just not like, I wasn't comfortable with that. I wanted to stop eating animals and I didn't know how to express it or how to do it. So I just wrote a book, and then it made me realize, okay, I just need to stop eating animals and I'll be fine. But I didn't stop there. Then after I started questioning a lot of different stuff. And of course, I started questioning my job. And when I realized that as a designer, my job is to make stuff pretty or desirable so people can buy it, it really made me question whether or not I should even continue doing design, because it's so detrimental to the world. It's so ingrained into consumption, and you know, a lot of things are not going into the right direction today because of us designers. We design stuff that are too good, that too many people want to buy.
True. Consumerism
right.
is a big problem, and I should know.
I mean, yeah, we all do what we can, but anyway, so realizing that was also like a huge thing for me, and then I started asking myself whether or not I should continue doing design. And
oh, really? So you got to that point?
Yeah. I thought maybe I need to stop and change career.
What was your option there?
Well, the first thing that, because I was thinking very dramatically at the time, so in this whole thought process,
we all are dramas.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. The whole thought process was, okay, what can I do that is the most virtuous thing, given the problem that I'm just realizing now. And the answer was, I guess, abandon everything, go back to a Châteaudun in La Beauce, and grow potatoes and carrots.
So why did you not do that?
Because I don't want to go back to Châteaudun in La Beauce and grow potatoes and carrots. And I didn't think I could be doing anything else in design. It just, I love it too much, is what I have to be doing. And
but you did find a compromise.
So yeah, so then I went looking for that compromise. And when I left London and went to Canada, the agency that I wanted to work at, the ideal agency I was looking for was like a place where we would only work for non-profits or NGOs, and or only be doing like ethical marketing for brands like Patagonia, the North Face, or just cool stuff like that. That's really what I wanted to do. So obviously the agency that I joined was not in that train of work. So that also contributed to me getting like bored really fast, because I knew what I needed to be doing, but I just couldn't find the right place to be doing that. So yeah, it also led me to quit that job and start my own studio so that I could create the job that I was looking for, but I just couldn't find.
So this was quite early, I suppose. So this was because I wasn't sure whether you wanted to do a difference. You got more into this topic of sustainability when you were putting together your company or while you were running your business, or was it earlier? It sounds like it was earlier.
It was
before
earlier.
Leaving London, actually.
Yeah, it was earlier, and like I said, for a long time I looked for a job that I could feel more at ease with the stuff I'm doing, and I could feel like my everyday activities are aligned with I guess my values and the things I believe in. And because I couldn't find that, I just made it.
And that was the purpose from the beginning, to work with sustainable brands and companies.
That's why I called my studio Positive Impact Studio.
That's a really good name, to be honest.
Thank you.
Use Positive Impact all the time.
Thank you. I thought it would be a good SEO strategy. I don't know if it still is.
Was it quite kind of like blank space in that sense on searches in Google? And
Yeah, because there weren't too many like stuff that would pop up when you looked for that, and all the stuff that would pop up were not too fun. There weren't too many like agencies or design related stuff. Mostly like I don't think there was a bag brand or like clothing, apparel, stuff like that.
so now if I type on Google positive impact design,
I'm still not on the first page now because
you are?
I don't really put too much effort into
Right, you're not.
No, I have to do it, but
It's not. It doesn't sound like unless it's a popular term like positive impact design.
It's. I mean, you can try it out. I don't know if I've been told I'm not on the first page, but
Let me see. I'll try it now live. So you said you had two clients when you left the business. That would give you like a runway for a month or two or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So how much time did it took you to get a new customer to be able to survive?
Actually, not too long, because at that point, I don't know, I think the stars aligned maybe at that moment, and I started to have a lot of clients like right at the beginning, and I actually ended up having.
Is this yours?
Yes.
Well, you kind of underplayed yourself, because if you type positive impact design, it's the first that's coming up.
Oh, really? Okay, well, that's great.
After a couple of scholarly articles, and then right underneath is positive impact .studio. And I've not even typed positive impact studio, I typed positive impact design. So you're there.
There we go.
There you go. So you need to check your position a bit more often. And your logos are the images there.
So it's all populated with my beautiful designs.
Yeah, and there also, I see you put a place like Google location, because your Google location
What does
there.
it say?
It says it's open, it closes at 5 p.m. It doesn't show.
Okay.
And then you also have under the images and everything, you have your About Us page. So you're dominating the top positions for positive impact design.
Yeah.
Which is great. Because you can just tell people, what's your company, Positive Impact Design, if they search on.
Yeah, and I mean, I chose that name also because it's, well, supposedly it's like sticky. You can remember it easily. It's not like some obscure, like, startup names that are.
Yeah.
With loads of XYZs and.
What are you? Oh no, my goodness! You know what my company was named, right?
No.
Jigsaw.
Jigsaw's great. Jigsaw's great.
Yeah,
sure. It's so it's super easy to remember if you're thinking about it.
Okay, thank you. I felt attacked.
No, I don't.
No, but it is a great name, and I'm starting to.
I hated it at first, but yeah.
You did? How come?
Because I was looking for a clever name with like a lot of XYZs and I couldn't find one. I just had like stupid ideas in mind, and I was like, all right, I'll just go with like classic Positive Impact Studio. It's long. I didn't like it, but then
But is it Positive Impact Studio or Positive Impact Design? The name of your company?
I bought both domains, so I don't know. You can call it whichever way you want.
So you're one of those, as in like me, which searches for the domain.
I have an idea. Let's buy the domain straight away.
Yeah, but do you search for the domain before you figure out what the company name is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a disease.
I know so many people who are like obsessed with buying stuff on Amazon. My obsession is buying domains, so I guess everyone.
How many do you own?
No, not that many, but I want to buy a lot of different ones.
Yeah, me too.
I just need to protect my cash flow, so I don't do
it. So you're sitting quite well on Google. I've checked. Right. So you're saying about your first customers after the ones that you already had.
Yeah, and I had a lot of new customers afterwards, so I had so much work in that period. It also made me super confident. I just quit my job, and I was fully booked for like 4 or 5 months. So it gave me a lot of confidence, and it was great. I was I remember being like super ecstatic in that period. I was probably working 80 hours a week for like months and months and months, but I was just floating, like super happy. And yeah, I was.
And were these all the type of customer profiles and personas that you were looking for?
Not at all, but it was, it was something. I needed to start somewhere.
Right. Yeah. That's very true. And what happened afterwards? Did you had, because you said I had, so you're talking past tense.
Yeah. Well, what happened after? I think at the end of that period of being really busy, it probably started to slow down a little bit. And this is when you realize, oh yeah, okay, so I actually need to like put in some real work and like actually look for clients. And when it calmed down, this is when I took the opportunity to, I guess, redo my website and so many other stuff that I needed to do. Then I did that, and I went looking for other clients, and it started rolling again. And
how did you do that? What was the first thing that you did to tap into the customer base?
I was talking to people nonstop all the time. I was talking to people on Twitter, on X now. I was talking to people on so many different Slack communities. I think almost every single day I had like a meeting with some random person who just accepted to talk to me. And I just took loads of different information from loads of different places. And every time someone was like, oh, that's interesting, I know someone who might need like something that you're doing. And then I was just jumping on every opportunity.
I mean, I feel that that's the way to go when...
That's the way to go,
yeah,
I think, when you
at least in the early days.
Yeah.
And nowadays, how does that work for you?
So I stopped doing that because I want to be more focused on who I work with. I'm more focused on the goal of working with climate tech and sustainable businesses. So I stopped having calls with random people every single day.
It's not sustainable, right? Unless you're a salesperson,
No,
that's
yeah.
your role. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
sustainable.
It's
You
not
can do it at the
sustainable,
beginning.
and if you're just being honest with yourself, it's like it's not worth the time. So it's better to just have meetings and talk with people who you know it's really going to be worth it. So I put more efforts into other stuff. I am still not very comfortable with the whole content creation stuff. I just can't find the time to do it. And I should be delegating that, and I still don't, which is bad. But I would say now I try to get into the right communities. I try to speak with the right people, and I count on these relationships to flower, to bloom.
What kind of communities do you engage or are part of? Is it strictly design communities? Or
No. Mostly tech communities.
Right. So sustainable tech communities.
Yeah.
Well, that's
tech in general.
I feel that that's the right way. I mean, I think your own craft type of industries is useful as well to keep in touch with everything that's happening in your industry, in creative and design, and but rarely brings you customers.
No, it's great to hang out with your peers.
Yeah,
it's amazing to feel. I also remember when I started doing that, when I started hanging out in, I don't know, like coaching groups or meeting other studio owners or freelancers. I remember thinking I feel understood for the first time. Like people are like me. Everyone has this thing that, just like me, we could never do just one thing. We always have like a main job and a side gig, and always creative. And yeah, so I really love hanging out with these people because it's a great community. You meet people from all around the world.
Yeah.
But the real people, the other love that I have is of course the tech world, the entrepreneurs, and I love hanging out with people who are more like less creative but more like scientific kind of like engineers. I love these people too because they think so differently than me, but for that reason they are so interesting to talk to. So yeah, it's great to hang out with your peers and feel at home, but it's also great to hang out with other people and feel like everyone is different, but they have such an interesting
you
way
get
of thinking.
a new a different perspective for your own journey and for your own business and
Yeah.
work, because if you're just stuck in the design world, then I do think that it's very difficult to relate to your customers and be able to have proper conversations and connections and
Yeah.
understand them adequately. Um, if you're part of groups and you're talking to tech people, if you're part of conversations around climate and climate technology that's coming out and things like that, then you're a lot more versatile, well versed in this field. So it's a lot easier to impress customers in a sense, because you're sitting down with
Yes.
them and you can basically complete their sentences when it comes
Yes.
to the
100%.
stuff that's happening in the positive impact and climate
Mm-hmm.
change type of industry. So no, that's very powerful. That's why I was asking, because I was curious whether that's where you exist in your let's say not working and designing
Mm-hmm.
spare business time.
Yeah, no, I put on that habit of talking to engineers, entrepreneurs, scientists a lot when I started the studio, because it was part of my plan that I knew that I needed to spend more time with these people, talk to them more so that I could understand them better, and learn to speak to them, learn how they, what are the codes, their way of understanding the world. I needed to have a perfect understanding of that so that I could, penetrate better that whole community, and yeah, and make them feel understood by me and the things I offer to them.
Yeah, and you're also networking quite a lot, which will bring you opportunities
Mm-hmm.
for your business. So we talked about the reason why you're doing it. We talked about the ups and downs, like periods where you get quite a bit of work and interesting projects, and then periods where things are lower. I want to know, on the lifespan of Positive Impact Design / Positive Impact Studios, because you have two companies. Um, what was the hardest period up until now for your business and for yourself as a founder and entrepreneur?
It was last year when I just ended a period of like a couple months that were really, really successful. Like I had never made more cash than these months before. I had never had such interesting projects. I was managing a team a little bit bigger than I would normally. So I was ending a really long period of time where long period, not long period, but a period of time where everything was going super well. And I felt really confident, but I felt also really exhausted because I was working super hard, like crazy, like no evenings, no weekends. I was just working literally all the time. So at that point, when that period ended and I had a few weeks without any work, I took a holiday, and then it was really difficult the day that I realized that when it was the last day of my holiday and I needed to return back to work, I was just unable to do that, because I guess I was burnt out. So yeah, that was difficult, realizing that there's actually a limit to what I can do. I'm not invincible. I can't just work like crazy, take a 2 week holidays, and then go back to work as if it's normal.
How did that manifest? You said you couldn't get back to work and you realized that you were burned out. What were some of the symptoms?
Not taking the plane back to work from
Um,
my holiday.
but what kept you from booking the flight? Was it you didn't had an internal desire? You felt that um, you weren't you weren't eager to do that, or were there other things, like, let's say, for example, exhaustion, certain feelings that you had, certain fears, concerns.
Hmm.
What was some of those things that kept you from booking the flight ticket
Yeah,
back?
I did book it. I just never showed up at the airport.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, um, it wasn't one of these horrible like anxiety crisis. It wasn't like that. I think it was I was having fun, and I was really enjoying my time off.
Hmm.
And I just asked myself, like, why do I have to go back? Actually, I don't have to. I get to decide, right? I'm the boss. So
Yeah.
if I don't want to go back from my holiday, maybe I can just stay on holiday. And I didn't think that far. I mean, it wasn't like a horrible moment of realization of like everything is collapsing. It was more like a I think I need to breathe. So let's just breathe for a moment and see if I can keep things going. But I just felt like I needed to do that in order not to trigger any other like horrible thing that could have happened, like all the anxiety crisis and all that. I didn't have that, thank God. But I think I had to let myself breathe in order not to fall into that.
You see, I can't relate,
Okay.
and I'm actually quite envious that I can't relate, because after we got acquired, I said, I'm just gonna work for the team that acquired us, and kind of like maybe slow down a bit and not do anything
Mm,
else. And it didn't last. It was like I was probably a couple of months afterwards already thinking, I need more. I need something more. So although I thought that I would be able to just take a break for a while, I didn't. So yeah. So I'm actually, that's why I was also asking this, because because I'm wired different than that, not different than everyone, because I know a lot of people that are wired like me that just can't stand still. They need to do stuff. You can't find them on a beach somewhere for more than a day, because they're already, like, even when I took a weekend off with Nikki, we went to a cabin in the woods and we locked our phones away. And I think she came more sick of me than prior, because I would just tell her all of the crazy ideas that I had. Like, my brain was just, I feel, more amplified because it was quiet,
mm.
because it was, and that's, my brain always kind of like intensifies when there's
Yeah, yeah,
peace
yeah.
and quiet. If I have distractions, my brain doesn't go that mental.
No, no, yeah, I get it.
Um, so when did you, after what period did you decide to go back to um, society?
It took a while because so like I said, I needed to take a break, but I was doing a lot of stuff honestly during that time. I was just doing different stuff. And also, to put things back into context, I hadn't had a proper break,
Mm.
extended break
Yeah.
for like since forever. So I think I needed that just in terms of haven't had really a chance to enjoy life too much, because before I was either a student or poor, or like I couldn't enjoy too many just luxury of being like off and doing nothing, or doing a lot of different things but not related to work anyway. So I did that. It lasted a while, and I felt like I needed to it that this it wasn't real life. Like, it was nice, but it wasn't real life. So I needed to go back to actually like what I'm really made for, like
Mm.
what I what I feel like I'm great at, and that I've really felt like I needed to use my brain again, I guess.
Right.
So I went back to work, and it was hard, but it was
Was it?
yeah, it was hard because yeah, I think at that point I realized, okay, it's fun, like I'm the boss, I get to decide. But if you leave and you just return, like like, I don't know, some time after that, all the, the work piled, and then you can't just, I felt like it's difficult to keep things going if you're not like on it all the time. Like, people
It
forget
is, yeah.
you. You can't just like, you can't just disappear and come back and people will be there like waiting for you. And yeah, so that realization was a bit hard.
So you didn't had any people, connections, companies that you worked before that you could ring up and say, "Hey, I'm back. Have some work."
No, I did, but I didn't want to do it. So I think when I came back from that time, I also wanted to take things slowly and say, okay, now I'm really going to focus. I'm really going to do finally like all the content creation and like really do everything I can so that the next client that comes is really going to be like Patagonia, or
Mm-hmm.
the super sustainable, like great, or climate tech, like something really cool. So I did have a few leads and I rejected all of them one by one because maybe part of me didn't want to go back to work that much. And maybe part of me was like, okay, no, I want to free some time so that I can dedicate myself to really making room for what comes next and something better, bigger. But the thing is that it wasn't a bad idea. It was just way too early to do that. And it didn't work because all of the room that I made to allow myself to put the things in place so that the right client would come, it didn't really quite unfold as that, and the right client never really came, and then I thought that I made a bad decision, and then time passed, I still didn't have work, and I became really broke, and then comes the moment where you don't have a choice anymore, that you need to make difficult decisions of like going back to work for clients or taking on projects that you would never have wanted to do, or you thought it's like, oh, it's below me. So yeah.
So that's what happened.
Yeah.
You started working for a company.
Not really because of that, but also because after I made that decision and a lot of bad moves, like business moves, I remember thinking, okay, I also maybe don't really have like an education in business, and I don't really know exactly what I'm doing, to be honest with you. So I remember thinking, okay, I need to go back to school. This is like, now is the time. Like, I've had fun. I've experienced a lot of different things. I've had really like incredible wins, some bad losses, but now it's time that I need to go back to school and really like learn what is it that I'm doing, because this whole experimentation is like fun, but it's not taking me where I want to be. At that point, I still haven't got like the perfect client that I'm looking for, or the perfect portfolio, or I still haven't penetrated that community of like climate tech entrepreneurs, and it's taking too long. It's like I'm getting impatient of getting there. So I'm thinking I need to, maybe the job that I was looking for back then, when I was looking for an agency where I can grow and become not just a designer, but like someone who's part of the leadership team, and work on interesting projects, like bigger budgets, etc. I thought maybe now is the time that I can do that, because I have a track record of what I can do. No one was, of course, letting me take on that responsibility before, because I couldn't prove that I could do it. But now I can, because I've done it for me, for my company. So I met two guys on a Slack community, and then it turns out they were looking for someone to hire in the agency. So I didn't really look at the job position. I just talked to them and say, hey, this is what I have. This is what I have to offer. Like, I'm putting this on the table. What do you guys have? Can we talk? And then we did talk, and turns out I think they liked the approach that I took, and they were interested by the whole, okay, you're a designer, but you're also an entrepreneur. You understand that, and we can have that level of conversation together. So I got hired in that company, and I sort of have like a partner level with them, but I'm just a normal employee, but I take decisions with them. And it's honestly great because I work part-time.
Nice.
I still get to do work for Positive Impact Studio, and I've got financial security, which allows me
That's always
to
nice, isn't it?
make the right decisions and take my time, and have also time for living and playing and doing other activities than just working. So it's been great.
When did you start this role?
It's gonna be a year soon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Time passes because I remember you telling me this. It feels like yesterday.
Yeah. No, it's been a year already. But and honestly, so long story short, after 1 year of working with them, I've learned so much, which is amazing. So I'm really feeling like I've made the right decision. It was difficult. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the whole like, really, am I going to be an employee again? After I remember thinking I'm gonna burn like all the CV and all that. I'm never gonna use that again. But yeah, so I had to kind of swallow my ego, the same ego that made me quit a job thinking that I was better than my boss. I had to swallow that.
Do you still think you're better than your bosses now? Okay, we're not gonna say anything. You're still working there. But the point is, it's not like better or worse or generalizing things, because people are good at various things. And me as a co-founder of Jigsaw, and I would say, don't like the word boss, but like leader of a team. Like, there's so many things and that's why I hired people to be the experts, so that I look dumb when I talk to them. Not that dumb. I still want to be able to, conduct myself and not feel like I'm extremely silly in topics like design, like marketing, like this, like that.
No, but you can own your role, and your role is to have vision.
Yeah.
You're the captain of the boat, and you're
And
telling
work
people
with
we're going
people.
this way.
Yeah.
But you don't know how to maneuver that sail or that other thing. That this is that person's job.
Yeah.
To know that.
And with our branding, with everything, as the branding progressed, and we hired internal designer, Mel, which is amazing. She was able to just take our, both Nikki and I's vision, and put it into really amazing concepts and present that to the team and do so. It's like kind of like, and yes, there was feedback, and in the early days there was a bit of feedback in the terms of this moving a bit too much from the current brand or what we're trying to convey, or this or that. But I think as a designer creative, you have to push a bit the boundaries. And I think, for example, Mel done a really great job at it, because she presented and she worked on stuff. We had to pull back a bit on some of the concepts, but then we still got to the same concepts, but it took a journey, right? And also being able to work with your leadership as a creative, senior creative, work with the leadership, work with the founder, and so on, to get to that point where they're comfortable in what you're proposing and so on. But yeah, I'm sure that there were many times that my creative team and marketing team thought of me of being a bugger that knows nothing about what they're doing. So It's normal. I think it's normal.
It's normal.
Right. Where's this all going for you?
For now, I'm continuing to learn. And I'm really, really, really excited about the things I'm learning right now. I still have clients. I still do like work with really cool people. And the work that I do now with my clients is so much better than it was last year. Like, I'm cringing so much at the work I was I was doing back then. So I'm
That's a good sign. That's a
it's
good
a
sign.
really it's a
You're
really good sign.
evolving.
It's
If
a really good sign because it wasn't always the case. Like when last year when I was working just like all the time on Positive Impact Studio, I was also, of course, always busy like 100% of the time with generating leads and getting clients. So the actual craft, the actual work I was doing of doing strategy with clients and coming up with design concepts and all that, it was difficult to have to split myself in so many ways. And now the fact that I have more time to continue learning the craft, but also not just that, but also the business side of things and and getting better at understanding products and ecosystems of how you make a really good product and how you can make a really good strategy to sell that product, etc. I'm getting so much better at all these things now that I don't have to think all the time about when is the next client going to come.
yeah,
That's someone else's job, and I'm so happy that that's the case. It makes me think that when of course my goal is to continue growing Positive Impact Studio. So when I go back to that 100% of the time, I definitely want to hire people to like generate leads for me. I know that I want to be the face of the business because it's worked well so far, me doing that, but I need help. Like I can't just be doing
yeah.
everything.
And I think you should. That there's definitely there's so many marketers out there that preach that every single company should have their founder should have a founder with a personal brand online and be a bit more founder led. I don't agree. There's people that just don't have it or don't want it, right? They just don't. They're not the type of people to be always posting on socials, always be at events, networking, speak on stages, be on camera. Like, they're people that just
No, don't get me wrong. I like doing that, but
no, but sorry, what I was saying was, what I was getting to was, it's not for everyone, but I can
for sure.
definitely see you as a character and personality being able to build a quite a strong brand online. Also because you have you have I would say strong opinions at time. You can voice your thoughts. Be careful with that though, online and stuff. And that shows character, and people love characters. You have people that resonate with your your character and your journey and the stories that you tell. So yeah,
yeah, of
definitely
course. I think the part
potential.
that I don't want to be doing anymore is just writing like articles, and it's
That's the
just
easiest part to hand over.
yeah, exactly. So perfect. The
Yeah,
plan is already made.
you do things like this PR stuff.
Exactly.
Um,
The fun part.
the fun part. Now there's before closing, I want to ask a question because it kind of like stuck with me. When you said when you came back from your holiday, you started working, but you wanted to do things on your terms, and you allocated some time unbooked with work for getting those customers that you wanted, and you wanted to start doing certain things in order to put yourself in front of those customers. And you said something interesting. You said it was too early, it wasn't the right time.
Mm-hmm.
What did you mean by that? In, let's say, in a perfect world, if you would do that again now, when would it be from your perspective, when would it be the right time to set that up? After what stage of your company?
The answer to that is not just with the company, it's also with maybe myself and my personal journey. The right moment would have been when I have a longer runway, like financially speaking.
Okay.
Because the problem is you can never make good decisions when you're short on cash,
Oh yeah.
right? So
When your stomach is making hunger noises, you
it's
can't
not,
really
yeah,
think clear.
exactly. So that was the first mistake, like first bad moment.
Yeah.
Also, second bad moment is well, it's a good moment. It's a good idea to be thinking more strategically about the decisions you take and which client you take on board, etc. When you are in a mindset that you're ready to work and ready to like be fully committed and available for your business and for working. I wasn't. And yeah, no, it's mostly that.
So you weren't in the mindset for that.
No, yeah, I still had stuff in my personal life that I needed to kind of explore and pursue, and it went along with the whole thing about what I was saying earlier, that I work was like my whole life for so many years that I kind of left some personal things on the side, like just living my life as a young person. And I needed to do that. And for a moment, I thought maybe I can try and do both at the same time. But there's a moment for everything, and I think I just at that time, really the moment was that live your life, just like be free for a moment, and then it's not convenient that it happened after I already like started building my business. I wish I had that moment when I was like I don't know, at a different time, but it always comes like that, right?
You know, I had the exact same thing where I was trying to build businesses. This was when I moved to London. In the first 3 years, this is why I resonate quite a lot with your story, because I would just hustle hard to get customers, to build them websites, go on Upwork, there. And then eventually I started meeting a couple of people and they recommended me to another customer and another customer. And for a while I had really good work to do. It was a bit boring to me and I was eye rolling because that wasn't what I wanted to build. That wasn't the type of customers that I wanted to have. I wanted to do SaaS. It's kind of like, it's very similar to your journey. And then periods where it's like super poor. I was like super poor. I couldn't even afford to go out and buy food from the store, in a sense. Like I had moments like that where I had to starve myself for a couple of days until could reach a friend to borrow me some money. So very, very low, and then get a bit more work done and get a bit more payments. And after 3 years of that and suffering, and like yourself, allocating some of the time for the freelancing job and then some of the time in trying to build SaaS businesses and this and that and putting together solutions, but never investing, never being in the mindset or the know-how or having enough time to also invest in marketing and figuring out how to make those projects successful. So eventually I was like, it's time for me to let go temporarily of all of this and get a job. And I was exactly the same. I was like, I'm never going to work for anyone else. And I did. And honestly, that was the best decision that I could take. And it does sound like it was the best decision for you at this stage in your life as well.
I mean, yeah, thank you for sharing that, because there's not a lot of stories where you hear like the successful entrepreneur and then suddenly you have to go back, get a job. I don't know. It's honestly, it's difficult to be like at peace with that and to tell yourself like it's not a failure. Okay. It's just like, it's just that, things are not linear, and it's not like, okay, you start your journey as an entrepreneur and then once you start, you never go back, kind of thing. I don't know.
It's not like that. And I know a lot of people that actually enjoy. I actually had the last episode that I've published with Andrew Davies. He's the chief marketing officer at Paddle, and he been an entrepreneur since he was in uni. And again, quite an interesting story. I'm not going to go over that because it's already published. But now he went into employment, and he's part of leadership of a team, and he's super happy because he's making an impact and he's making a difference, and he still practices. He's still kind of like an intrapreneur, which kind of sounds like you're a bit of an intrapreneur for that company as well, given that you're able to take decisions, given that you're able to talk and you're at the table of decision making. So yeah, that's really good. Thank you so much. Before the ending ceremony, I love that because everyone makes a face when I say ending ceremony.
Are
It's
we
like,
gonna
what the hell?
chant? Is there gonna
Are
be
we gonna
drums?
sacrifice? No, we're not gonna sacrifice any animals. You're vegan, okay? Before any of that, do you have any curiosity about Jigsaw's journey, or me, Nikki, as founders, or anything like that you want to ask me?
Curiosity.
Yeah, any questions or anything like that? Perfectly fine if you don't.
No, I mean, I have a lot of curiosity, but I already know a little bit about your journey, and
You do, yeah.
And mostly, I'm sure there's also loads of stuff that I don't know, but I'm curious to discover more.
We did stay in touch.
Yeah, around maybe like a good pint at the pub.
We need to have a drink later on. I've not had a drink in 3 weeks because I've been on antibiotics. Really? Yeah, so this would be my first drink after 3 weeks. Let me put this question to you, right? Let me incentivize a question that you would ask me. Okay. So just for context, for whoever's listening, there was a time at the beginning of the journey of Jigsaw where you and I reconnected, where we just got seed investment, and we were getting full-time working for Jigsaw. You remember that? Mm-hmm. And we were looking to build like a brand and improve the brand, redesign the website, and all of that stuff. And we were discussing with you to potentially get that done. Did I ever mention why we didn't?
I must have asked, but you probably answered something really generic.
Was it generic?
Yeah, because I don't remember it. So.
I was probably quite political and so on. It was because we didn't like you. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. It's a prank. No, it was actually I really wanted to work with you at that stage, but we were such a early stage, and although we had seed investment, and I think this is one of the things that helped us get to where we got. We were super economical with our finances, and Nikki and I were jack of all trades, mm-hmm. and probably more Nikki, because I can't call myself economical. I'm a crazy spender. So it's Nikki that's keeping the studio as an example, but it's Nikki that kind of keeps me in check in a sense, because I wanted to I wanted to hire someone. I was talking to you to rebuild a website, do a crazy redesign and rebrand and so on. I wanted to pay advertising, a lot of money in advertising, this, that. And it was Nikki that helped kind of tone down that craziness, because we had 200K seed investment. We didn't have like millions or anything like that. So we started looking at, but this money needs to be runway for a long time. What are the things that we can do and spend time on versus the things that we really are not able to do and have to put money. So that was the thinking in the very early days. And that's why we eventually pulled the plug on the website redesign, and we said, okay, we'll just change stuff and we'll do it ourselves later down the road. So yeah, I don't know if I ever said it like this when we discussed, but that was the reason why.
Yeah, you probably said something similar to that.
Potentially, but more shorter and more political.
Well, it's not easy. I mean, most of the time when I don't get to work with people, it's mostly because of that. It's because also I speak to a lot of really early stage entrepreneurs, so they all have the same problem, right?
Like we were, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, everyone wants to work with me in the end, but they don't always.
Yeah.
They can't always afford it. But you did the right thing, is because it worked really well.
Yeah.
And there's a moment in time where it makes sense to invest in branding, and it's really not necessarily as early stage as people think.
Well, it turned out great. The branding was great. People, we got acquired because of our strong brand and our presence and our marketing. But I don't doubt that if we would have worked together on Jigsaw, it would have been awesome. It would have been an amazing brand, because we worked before, and that's why I kind of like reached out to potentially talk about this, because we worked on other projects, and I think it was a really good dynamic there, and we made some magic happen in the previous company. I think there were some really cool projects, so I wanted some of that magic for Jigsaw as well. It was just too early in our stage at that point. Right. So now that I've self-inflicted this upon the conversation, I'm going to end it with 3 flash questions. One, a quote that you live by.
A quote that I live by. Work hard and be nice to people.
That seems common sense.
Yeah. Well, sorry, it's not very original.
But it's not. No, you don't have to apologize. It's not that. But what I wanted to follow up with is that it's a hard balance, though.
Yeah.
Work hard and be nice with people. When you work hard, usually, and
you become an asshole.
Yeah, I've been a grump in the last year of Jigsaw quite a bit, and I regret it, to be honest. If I would turn back time, what I would do better is, be a bit better with how I work and communicate with my people, with my folk, with my team, and not put such a big stress toll into it, because it affected my health as well. So it is not it depends on your character as well, right? If you're intense as an individual and with working and so on, which I've been quite a few times, it's very hard to be also nice to people.
Yes, yeah, definitely. But that's why I like to keep this phrase in mind.
Okay. And book that changed your life, whether personal or a professional business book.
I read a book called Win Without Pitching Manifesto. It's quite a famous book in the creative industry, and it's written by a guy called Blair Enns. He coaches creative entrepreneurs. And basically, this book was written at a time where the common practice for creative agencies was to write pitches to win work, right? So any given company would post out a job that they wanted done, and several companies would gather and like work on pitch for weeks, and it would cost them loads of money, and they would put loads of free ideas in the pitch.
I know the recipe, because that's in consultancy as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but it's always like everyone loses at that, because the agencies, they obviously waste so much money doing that. And then if you don't end up winning the work, it's like all of that is lost, and there's a lot of people who do it and only one who's chosen in the end. So mostly people lose. And then all the ideas that you put in the pitch, they are probably bad ideas, because not any discovery has been made, has been like conducted prior to giving the ideas. So it's all bad ideas. It's just to kind of show off what we can do creatively. But again, so everyone loses that. And this guy Blair Enns, he wrote that manifesto, which says a lot of things. But one really important thing is that he says it's written as in, we will not XYZ, and the whole book is written like that. It's like a book written for creatives as part of like a group, us, the creatives in the industry, we will stop doing that so that our industry will like change and get better. And
So it's like
practices
the
will change.
10 commandments of
Exactly.
a
That's
design
exactly
industry.
how it's. Yeah, that's exactly how it's written. It even looks like a biblical thing. Like it's a really beautiful
That's really
object.
cool.
I love it. Yeah.
I want to see a picture of it now.
It's a nice book. And Blarians has written a lot of other books that are really interesting. He has a podcast, and this guy in particular, I was he taught me a lot of things. He doesn't know it, but I owe him a lot.
Nice. Awesome. I need to see a picture of that book. You show me a picture afterwards. I'm curious. And then the last bit, what is a good habit that you advocate for?
Don't forget to stretch, actually. Morning and evening. Yeah. Maybe minimum like 15 minutes every morning and every evening. And your body will thank you, especially if you're less than 30. Put on the habit now so that you will keep your flexibility.
Especially if you're over 30, you mean not less than 30?
No, you need to take on the habit before you turn 30, because when you're 30, it's already too late. You lost all your flexibility, your back hurts, and then this is when you're like, oh, I need to start stretching, but I'm hurting everywhere. It's too late. So.
Damn it, it's too late for me.
It's too late for me. No, but you have to do it anyway.
And you remind me of Nikki, because this is how she spooks me about my eye situation and getting older. And she goes like, you need to use that cream before it's too late, because she bought me a eye wrinkles cream.
Oh yeah, and put sunscreen on also.
Yes, I never do.
It's well, you live in England, so you're forgiven. But
come on, we have sun here from time to time, okay?
But yeah, stretching and sun cream.
Stretching and sun cream. Okay, perfect combo. Well, thank you so much for having the conversation.
Thank you so much, Vero.
It was lovely. And I'm looking forward to see what you do with Positive Impact Design.
Thank you.
And you're on the first page, okay? Don't forget that.